Alright, so this is the video for my newest project. I'm taking this picture, which is 2 years old, it doesn't feel that old, and turning it into a comic setting, because I do have a story that I wrote out for it, which is spanning over the next few pictures that will pop up. The story itself takes place 5 years after Skyward Sword, so Link's now in his 20s. He has refused to pick up a new blade after placing Fi in the pedestal just because no blade feels right in his hand. And no matter how many times he tries to explain it to Zelda, she nags at him because that's what Skyward Sword Zelda does, she nags. I'm biased against her. She's like my least favorite Zelda out of the entire franchise. But Link goes into the forest to kind of calm down and get away from everyone hovering over him, kind of, you have to use a sword, it's dangerous, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you don't know what I've been through, I'm fine. So, and as he's wandering, he happens upon the sword, and Girahim is there. He is conscious and aware, but he can't be seen. He can't be heard, and that's what this first bit of the comic here shows, is the interaction without the interaction. Girahim is able to see and hear everything, but Link is not. So he's stuck listening to Link almost reminisce, because right now Link is sort of stuck in this place where he's alone, essentially. Because, while Groose was there, he was only there for part of it, and he never left, the sealed grounds. So he doesn't even fully understand what Link went through. So, Link's restless. He understands himself better than anyone else, but no one will listen to him when he says that, I'm not picking up another sword because it doesn't feel right. Well, you need a sword to protect yourself. I have all my other weapons. You need a sword to protect yourself. So he just kind of runs off into the forest, plays with the little cute kawikis and just kind of wanders, because, if he's isolated anyway, he might as well be isolated without the nagging, is sort of how I saw it. Just because after you go through something like that, especially by yourself, you're not going to be who you were. And that's one of the points that gets brought up several times, is Link isn't who he was. He's not the kid that lounges around in the sun anymore. He's a battle-hardened warrior that's kind of stuck in that what now place, and can't really talk to anyone about it because nobody really understands it. The only one who could have understood it maybe was Impa, and she's gone. So this first section really is just them both being isolated in their own manner. Girahim is stuck physically, while Link is stuck emotionally and mentally. And both have, these horrible downsides to them. Girahim's technically been there since the past, like 1,000 whatever years ago it was, since when Link defeated Demise. So he's been stuck in this one place for an exuberant amount of time, and he's not what he was at all. He has no hope, basically. Demise is gone. There's no way to bring him back. His purpose essentially is removed from him. So all he has left is nothing, really. And then, like I said, with Link, he doesn't have anyone that's capable of understanding or even willing to really truly listen. Because, if someone were willing to just sit and listen, then they could at least to a point understand. And Groose, does, but not to the point that Link really needs. There's so much that's changed for him. There's so much that's different now than there was, and he hasn't been able to find a way to really cope with it because there's no one to guide him through it. There's no one around him that has been through this, that has done the things he's done, that has seen the things he's seen. So he's lost, and so he wanders. He goes to the places he knows, the places that are familiar to him, the ones that are calming, and he ends up finding, Gerahim during one of these little treks. And it's almost like this breath of fresh air to see something from then. To see that it was real, it was there. It wasn't just something that happened. There's this physical proof left over. Because there are times, after something like that, it feels like it was just a bad dream. So finding Gerahim for Link gives him a sort of chance to find closure, in a way, without really finding closure. And he actually ends up bringing up a point or two that makes Gerahim stop. Like, Link can't hear Gerahim. Link can't see him. But despite that, Gerahim still speaks. And at one point you see that Link turns after Gerahim yells. And there's this utter look of what I tried to make a look of shock and almost hope at being heard. Because being heard is such a powerful thing after having no voice for so long. And then Link turns back around and there's nothing, and the last scene is, of at least this part of the comic, is Gerahim curled up, saying, "I'm alone again." Because for that small moment, there was more than just him and the birds. And, for Link, he manages to find a slight bit of closure from it, but at the same time, because of Link having appeared, Gerahim's actually left almost wanting. Because for that brief moment, Link did hear him, but that was it. And now there's nothing. But because Link did hear that small cry out, now Link isn't sure. There's that chance of maybe he is still there. And for Link, that's it contradicts for him. Because, Gerahim was the enemy. He's the one who caused all of that pain and grief. But at the same time, Link says, I never wanted to see you like this. He does actually say, I'm sorry. Which is one of the reasons that at one point Gerahim has a shocked face. But he says, I'm sorry, because he says, I'm sorry, but both of us could not get what we wanted. Only one of us could. But, he never wanted to see Gerahim like that, and it almost hurts to see someone who was so strong and so sure of themselves to be so decayed. It's not the word I want. But it still kind of holds true. It's both of them, they found something and then it's still gone at the same time. And at the end, they're both still left with this wanting. So, but yeah, the basic premise of the beginning of the story, at least. I ended up having to split the full comic in half, and then once to color it just because it ended up lagging really bad. So, and then once I get it all colored, I'll stick it back together. But I'll probably end up with 2 more videos for this project. Because this section here, just the line work, not even counting what I didn't show in the video, before the video started, I should say, was 6 hours just to do the line work. And then there was another, like, 4 hours before that to get all the rough draft out and get everything put where it was supposed to be. So, yeah, till next time.